Hey guys, today we have Prasad and he is having total 3 years and 4 months of experience in Java, Spring Boot and microservices domain. And those who want to give same free mock interview, please fill out the form below in the description. So now let's get started. Hey, hello Prasad, how are you?
Hi, Vasan. I'm fine.
Okay, shall we start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Prasad, can you please introduce yourself and your day-to-day task in your current project and brief description of your current project?
Yeah, so I'm Prasad Saul. I'm currently working as a backend developer at Geo. And so my currently day-to-day task involves developing Spring Boot REST services.
Mm-hmm.
And we also develop microservices for ingestion of third-party data. Basically, we integrate with other SAP systems and financial systems. So I've also worked on a few of those, like
Okay.
promotions and stuff. So yeah.
Can you tell me your experience with design patterns?
So design patterns I've worked on for about 2 years maybe. The design patterns I would like to tell uh, there is a project that I worked on which was related to the transactional data. So
Mhm.
we followed like transactional asset part for that, like basically the saga design pattern over there.
Saga design
So
pattern. Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so what is
so
this? Can you please explain?
the saga design pattern.
Yes, yes, correct.
So yeah, saga design pattern is followed when multiple microservices are communicating with each other, and the transactional nature should be handled in all of the microservices. If one
Mm.
microservice fail, then the transaction should be rolled back through all the microservices.
Okay, okay. So can you please tell me how can we achieve 100% abstraction in our project?
We can use basically behavioral design patterns for that, like strategy design pattern or something like
Okay,
that. Yeah.
okay, okay, cool. What's the difference between abstraction and encapsulation?
Abstraction is basically you're going to have the implementation for from the calling method basically,
Mhm.
and encapsulation is basically you're hiding the accessors and through
Yeah, it
getters.
restricts direct access to an object's data by using access modifiers, right?
Yeah.
We use getter setters as well. This is a part of encapsulation, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, so and what's the difference between abstraction and interface?
Interface is basically a sort of contract of whichever class implements that interface, you have to implement the abstract methods for it.
Okay.
And interface basically defines like two types of methods.
So can
So
we
basically,
achieve 100% abstraction by using interfaces?
yeah, we can achieve. And I think the default methods are part of interfaces too. So I think halfway we can achieve that.
Halfway we can achieve it. But before Java 8, we used to achieve the 100% abstraction because at that time there were no default methods, setting methods and all, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Only abstract methods were there. Okay, so can you tell me
Yeah.
how Java's memory model work?
Sorry, I'm not. Uh, I don't know much about
Okay,
that.
okay. Yeah, it's fine. So it's basically it's a memory model defines how threads interact with memory, ensuring visibility and atomicity using heaps, stack, and volatile mechanism. Okay. What's the difference between hash set and tree set?
So Hashset internally uses Hashset basically internally uses a hash map to use the unique keys part of the hash map.
Uh-huh.
Tree set is used to sort the elements in order, basically. So
Okay.
whichever you order of elements you put in the tree set, they're always
Mm.
inserted in order.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Tell me how does Java's garbage collector work?
So garbage collection works on so it does like multiple processes basically. First of all, it marks all the objects which are currently in use, and
Mm-hmm.
while the next sweep happens, it collects or frees the memory which is not in use, frees the objects which are not in use, and then if any objects or resources are still using the memory, then it moves it to a separate part, and after the third sweep, if the resources are still persisting, they are moved to the young generation basically. So there is a concept of generations in garbage collection. So
Hmm.
after the young generation, if the resources are still persisting, they are moved to old generation. So they'll be not marked for garbage collection again. Yes.
Correct, correct. Okay, hey guys, I want to share something important with you. Prasad prepared from our interview preparation kit and cracked multiple interviews. We have also referred him with the multiple companies. So let me tell you, this interview preparation kit has four main parts. First is complete interview preparation material. It is a step-by-step material made by me, experts, and MNC's interviewers. 99% of the questions asked in interviews are covered in it. Second is two real enterprise client projects. Code and video recorded sessions are there, and you can add this in your resume. Third is lifetime chat support. Here you ask your doubts anytime. Fourth is referral support. Here we help you to get referred to the top MNCs. So basically the material is organized as per your experience level and covers Java, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data JPA, Kafka, microservices, Maven, Git coding questions, Stream API coding questions, and many more. You can buy just the complete interview preparation material or the full interview preparation kit with project supports and referrals. I have added the links in the description below. So now moving to our interview. Do you know about cloning, object cloning?
Object cloning basically we are using the same values of
Mm-hmm. Ah, sorry, I lost your voice.
same values and
Can
that.
you repeat? I just got it now.
Uh, Object cloning is basically using the same values in the values of the state in the object and creating a new object out of it, basically keeping the original one intact.
Okay, cool. Um, what happens if you don't override hash code when overriding equals method?
So equals and hash code method sort of form a contract between them. So whenever only hash code method is overridden and not the equals method, then it can create problems while comparing or uh, whenever you are working with a collection of some sort of that type of object, then it can create equality operation issues basically.
Hmm, that's correct. Now, can you please tell me the different ways to create a thread in Java?
So thread can be created with multiple ways. You can extend the thread class. You can also implement a runnable interface, and you can also create. Think you can also use callable for that.
We could also use executor service, right? And also fork join pool, right?
Yeah. We can submit a lambda to that
Hmm.
basically.
Okay, okay, cool. Let's say your application is experiencing a deadlock situation. How do you debug it, or how would you debug it?
Uh, mm,
Did you face this situation in your career?
Not yet, still
Not
not.
yet. But what if in future, if you face this situation, the deadlock situation, so how would you debug it?
First, I would like to, get some sort of analysis like flame graph or basically like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then analyze if the memory is, you know, there are some irregularities, and then find out if there is some sort of scenario like deadlock happening over there. And
Hmm.
then,
And also we will identify the cyclic dependencies, right?
right.
Mm.
Okay, so,
And avoid nested locks,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
Okay. How would you handle high CPU utilization in Java application?
Uh, High CPU utilization. So think. If there are like multiple competitions or iterations happening, I would optimize that based on specific operations, or I would like I would first, use some specific data structures which can optimize that. For
Mm-hmm.
example, you can use hash maps for faster lookups for that, and tree maps or linked sets basically for better operations.
Hmm. Yep. That is also correct. And also, we could optimize loops. We could reduce GC overhead, right?
Sometimes there is also have so this is one thing that I've observed is sometimes in during Java applications there is only the objects are modified but they are not returned. So
Mm-hmm.
that object is modified but that will be collected later. So that would also increase the
Hmm.
memory footprint. So that could be also optimized.
Yep. That's correct. Okay. Okay. Um, what is the purpose of Spring Boot starters?
Spring Boot starters basically do auto configuration based on the current class path or basically the Java libraries you have on class path.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you have, uh, for example, the Spring Boot starter web dependency auto configures the Tomcat web server for you by default. If you exclude the Tomcat web server from the Spring Boot web starter and add Jetty to that Jetty starter, so it auto configures that for you based on the conditional on missing bean or other bean definitions, basically conditional on
Mm-hmm.
property bean
Mm-hmm.
definition.
Okay, can you tell me the name of some important starters if someone is going to write a Spring Boot application?
So I would specifically mostly suggest like Spring Boot Starter Web is mostly used for building web APIs and REST APIs basically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Spring Security is one of the most used starters to
Mm-hmm.
authentication for authentication and authorization.
Okay.
And uh, Spring Data JPA is one which
Okay,
is
so how,
used
how
for.
would you use Spring Security?
So Spring Security has multiple parts. One of them being the security filter chain. You have to define a filter chain through which
Mm-hmm.
your all endpoints are going through.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever an API request lands on your endpoint, it goes through the whole filter chain.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the custom filters that you have defined for validating and authorization,
Mm-hmm.
and then it reaches your controller, and
Mm-hmm.
then the whole
So
API
have you
functionality.
implemented JWT authentication system?
Yeah, we have
Can you tell
implemented
me
that.
the steps? How could we configure?
So you have to create a added component class. That class should extend the once per request filter, and the all the JWT validation logic that you have, like for example, validating it through a specific like public key. Uh, Basically, if you have a creation of JWT with private key, then you have to validate it with public key. So that logic can be written inside the do filter internal method, which you have to implement once you extend it with once per request filter class.
Okay, cool. And do you know about OAuth authentication system?
OAuth authentication system I've not specifically worked with, but
Okay.
the general flows.
Okay. What is authorization token?
So authorization token is basically the user is defining that uh, OAuth token is basically the credentials of the authorization token is basically the credentials, the username and password basically. And then
Mm-hmm.
Spring Security creates Spring Security finds the user's authorities based on that token.
Mm-hmm.
It allows it to pass through the filters.
Okay, cool. And let's say we are calling an API, we are hitting an API, we pass authorization token, right? And we pass that token with bearer. So why do we use bearer here? What does this mean?
So uh, bearer token is So I'm not sure
Okay.
about this.
Okay. No science actually behind this. This is a signature. If someone is passing the tokens, this is signature. Standard
Okay.
rules. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Mm, what's the difference between request param and path variable?
So request params are called by appending the question mark to the first parameter, and then
Mm-hmm.
the param value, request param value, and then equals to, and then the value is encoded, URL encoded basically, and the path variable is added as the added in the path itself. For example, you have slash API slash v1 slash my resource
Mm-hmm.
slash one. The one is the path variable.
Okay. Cool. Um, how does Spring Boot manage transactions?
Spring Boot has its own internal version of Spring Boot has its own exposed API of like transactional, which is used in the Spring Data or the Spring Data JPA world.
Mm-hmm.
So it has like it has a concept called propagation. So it has like four types of propagation can happen. So for example, you want to have a transaction which always creates a new transaction. For example, you want like updates to happen in a separate transaction itself. Like status updates are basically that. So you can add a transactional with propagation requires new for that. And if you want a long running transaction, that you can add propagation required, which is by default. And you can also add the exception handling based on that. For example, want to have a specific exception which is to be cached and then rolled back. So you can also add that exception to that Spring transactional request.
Yep, that's correct. Tell me the difference between synchronous and asynchronous calls in Spring Boot.
Synchronous calls are basically the REST APIs that we interact with. The one request, a client calls a request and the server responds it in a synchronous way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and asynchronous is basically we use some sort of message broker or message brokering system or event-driven system to handle the request. Uh, for example, we can use Kafka or RabbitMQ for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Moving ahead. What's the purpose of? Okay, so moving ahead, how do you optimize Spring Boot for a high performance application?
Uh, we can use for high performance applications. I mean, like handling more web traffic or something like that.
Uh, like if you are having a Spring Boot application that is performing very slower or not performing well, so how what you do in your project so that it can be performed well?
So if the application is a read-heavy application, like GET request are more to that application,
Mm-hmm.
to the web server API basically. So then we can add a cache to that. Depending on the requirements, we can add an in-memory cache basically,
Mm-hmm.
or we can also use Redis for that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
and also we have to add then cache invalidation logic. There is some sort of if there is a long running task basically in the Spring Boot application, like scheduler annotations basically. So then we can use multi-threading for that and Spring events to try do it asynchronously.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Moving ahead, how can you secure sensitive properties in your project?
Basically environment variables to use that, and uh, based on the deployment nature of that, we can use Kubernetes secrets basically for that, or we
Mm-hmm.
can also integrate Vault HashiCorp Vault or other
Mhm.
Vault management, secret management, basically.
Okay, cool. Um, do you know the concept of resilience and circuit breakers in Spring Boot?
Uh, I've read about the topic, but I've not essentially used it also
Okay, okay.
specifically.
Got it. Yeah, basically resilience ensures system stability, circuit breakers prevents cascading failures. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, what's the purpose of entity annotation in JPA?
So entity defines uh, basically a table model. It maps to a table in the
Mhm.
database. It maps a class object to the table in the database.
Mhm.
And an entity can have multiple associations with other tables, other entities, basically, like
Okay.
one-to-one or one-to-many, associations.
Hmm. So, how do you optimize large data set and large database queries in JPA?
So we can use, for example, with JP, if there are multiple associations in the same entity, then
Mm-hmm.
it can cause like n+1 problem, queries problem. So we can use fetch join for that, or specifically use DTOs or projections for optimizing the queries
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Okay. Okay. And what is n plus one query problem and how do you avoid them?
So n+1 query problem is basically you have one product class
Mm-hmm.
basically, and you have an orders class. So order can contain many products.
Mm-hmm.
So when you call the orders, call for a query on orders, it can iterate for through all the products itself. So that creates n+1 problem. So we can use fetch join for that, as I mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and we can also use of, uh, DTOs for that basically, and write custom queries with that.
Okay. Cool. What's the difference between a parent POM and child POM in Maven?
Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
What's the difference between parent POM and child POM in Maven?
So parent POM, we can use Maven allows you to structurally define your code base in a uh, structural way basically. So parent
Mm-hmm.
POM can have some dependencies with packaging POM type, and all those dependencies will be included in the all sub projects basically.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have some specific code base specific structure basically defined in the parent itself, and you can use that in the sub modules, all the sub modules itself.
Mm. Okay. Um, okay. What's the difference between git stash and git commit?
Git stash basically writes git stash is mostly used to, if you're working on some feature and then some urgent work comes, then you can stash all the changes that you've made to the work tree, and then
Mm-hmm.
to a specific temporary place, and then you can check out or do some work and then unstash them back. Git commit is basically writing it to your version history with a
Mm-hmm.
specific SHA commit, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can have local commits itself or local branches, and then you can push it to a remote.
Okay. Okay. So how do you squash multiple commits into a single commit?
Uh, you can interactively squash with the git squash command, and then you can choose the specific commits that you want to squash and write it into a simple commit.
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I think there is also some other way that you can specifically mention the hashes and from the range basically,
Mm-hmm.
and it will condense it into one commit.
Okay. Um, okay. So let's say you accidentally push the secret API key into the GitHub. So how do you handle it?
Uh, Sorry, I've not actually worked, I came across such scenario, so I would like to search before and then maybe do some sort of it.
Mm. Okay.
Usually, yeah.
Okay. No, it's fine. So tell me, how do you resolve conflicts while pushing your code?
Uh, So usually we sort of use like Git rebase for that. If there is if the changes are made on the same paths, same files basically, then
Mm.
usually the later one which is pushing to the branch, then that person will usually rebase the part, get up to speed with the branch that he is working with, and then rebase it and apply
Mm-hmm.
the merged basically.
Okay. Okay. Um. Okay. So tell me, what are the best practices writing your Java code?
So best practices while writing Java code. Usually, uh, uh, I would like to say like use functional APIs better because they are declarative in the stuff. Like you can use a stream APIs for that. They are
Mm-hmm.
pretty much functional. But if the application does have a lot of collection size, then stream APIs uh, can be less performant.
Mm-hmm.
But functional APIs or functional defining custom functional interfaces, that would be a
Okay.
pretty good
So we
way.
should prefer writing coding through Stream API or traditional loops.
Uh, if you're considering the collection size and are processing a bigger collection sizes, then for each loops would be better. For each loop is most performant in that case. But
Mm-hmm.
Stream API, if you are using small collections, then Stream APIs are good.
Okay. Um. Let's say you are facing some issues in production, but not in your dev branch. So what would you do?
I would like try to replicate the whole behavior uh, in first dev environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like use the same setup as the production. Like start a Docker in local and then deploy it in the local Minikube Kubernetes cluster basically, and
Mm-hmm.
then do sort of replication of that behavior. If it is still not reproducible, then look at the differences we have in the environment basically. Like for some APIs we do use like PVCs or
Mm-hmm.
network storage, so
Okay.
that could be some issue.
Okay. So do you have experience in Docker?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What's the difference between Docker and Kubernetes?
So Docker is used to create basically a container images, and Kubernetes is the uh, containerization executor. Basically you can scale up and down services based on the Docker images that you have spun up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, are you guys using different Docker files like Docker dev file, Docker main file, Docker PPT file
uh, no, we use a single Docker file.
for whole the application?
Yeah, yeah.
So is it a microservice based application or monolithic?
We have microservices based application.
Microservices. So how these microservices are communicating with each other?
We mostly use REST as the communication method
A
in
REST
microservices.
is synchronous, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what if we need asynchronous communication?
For some projects we have like we use Kafka for that.
Okay.
So transactional data, there is a project in which we use transactional data. So transactional, like products and
Mhm.
transactional data. So for that we use Kafka for that, for
Okay.
asynchronous processing
So can you
transactions.
tell me few APIs name that's in your project and what's their purposes?
Uh, so our main product in the team that we are doing is e-commerce related. So we
Mm-hmm.
have a checkout API, which is used in the online e-commerce website, GeoMart basically. And we have order details APIs for that. Get order
Mm,
details for fetching a specific user's order detail, customer's order details.
mm. Okay. Okay. And what's a schema? What about schema?
Uh, we don't have a schema or schema validation as per se, but
Mm-hmm.
we sometimes use Open API API documentation for that.
Mm-hmm.
So for generating test cases or running tests against our local APIs, we use
Mm.
the Open API docs for that and validate against those docs.
Okay. So yes, Prasad, it's done for me, and it was a very, very nice interview.